And again, I can tell that I'm getting a little cranky because I don't want to leave. And after a while, that is how I started thinking about this episode. Like, when was I in a bad mood? And I was like, aha, it's because a part of my heart has been ripped out.
Hello and welcome to the Worldwide Honeymoon Travel Podcast, the podcast that talks about all things couples travel, including destinations, tips, advice, and more. I'm Kat.
I'm Chris.
And this is episode number 206.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. We're recording this on Valentine's Day. It will not be Valentine's Day when this goes live.
Yeah.
So, whoops.
Well, it's still Valentine's Day now.
Yeah.
Although we've never really been big Valentine's Day people.
I always hate going out to a restaurant for Valentine's Day because it's usually mobbed by people and it's always so busy and crazy. But I do enjoy cooking on Valentine's Day.
I had, when you said it's mobbed by people, I had this vision of crowds of people going bearing down on this
Into the restaurant. Yeah.
And being like, feed us.
It's like all the people. No, there's nothing against it, but I'm sorry. When you just said that, it made me picture in my head the SpongeBob episode when all the little
Oh yes, I know what you're talking
about.
The nematodes.
The nematodes kept coming in for they piled in the Krabby or the. Oh my gosh.
The
Krusty Krab for some burgers.
Yeah, I do remember some Krabby Patties.
Krabby Patties, I
do remember that, yeah.
That's not what I'm comparing Valentine's Day, but when you just said mob on the restaurant, you made me picture that for whatever
Romantic
reason.
holiday, nematode invasion.
No.
And here we are.
I'm just bummed that it was really hard to find Sweet Tarts candy this year. I just love that.
Not Sweet Tarts candy.
Or Sweethearts. Or yeah, the Sweethearts. Conversation hearts.
There you are.
I love those, and we didn't get that many this year. They weren't around, and it made me sad.
I went to so many different stores looking for those
really?
for
That's
you.
That's so sweet.
I did, and I couldn't find any. I think I went to 5 different stores looking.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
I managed to find some a couple weeks ago, and then I ate them all. And
I was going to say, I have not seen them in this house, so that must have been a eat, gorge, destroy the evidence sort of afternoon.
Well, at least now it is Cadbury mini egg season, so something
Always
to look forward to. Yeah, and Peeps.
Forward to.
And Peeps. So
there you go.
Always great. But no, I like Valentine's Day. I love the celebration of love. I'm just not a big let's go out to eat because everybody's doing it, and it's just not as fun when the restaurants are packed and all that stuff versus having a nice little meal you cook at home and enjoy together.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you have a highlight from the past week?
We got a vegan Harry Potter themed cookbook for Christmas and from your parents, and we finally made some recipes out of it. And I made a pumpkin cheesecake brownie thing, and then
really good.
Yeah, it was really good. And obviously pumpkins aren't in season, and I randomly found an acorn squash, so that did the trick for what we needed it for. But then we also made vegan goulash, which is, I was very surprised how well it turned out considering goulash is such a meat-heavy dish.
That was also very good. Yeah.
So I'd say doing that, and then we watched the 4th Harry Potter movie together because Chris is rereading all the books again.
Yeah.
You're almost done, aren't you?
I am almost done. I'm in the 7th book, The Deathly Hallows.
Man. Favorite
which
book
I don't
so far?
remember. Hold on, which I don't remember at all.
I don't know how you don't remember them. There will be details you're like, oh my gosh, did you know this? And I'm like, yeah, I read all the books a long time ago.
I did too, but it has been years. And like with any series, you always read the first book the most and the last book the least, right?
That's true. I mean, if I reread the whole series, there would be a lot of things details that I would have forgotten for sure.
Yeah. Favorite book so far though is book number 5, Order of the Phoenix.
That's a good one. I
It's
still
really
love
good.
the Half-Blood Prince.
It has always been Goblet of Fire for me, but Order of the Phoenix, I don't know, and it's
I love a villain backstory though.
I'm reading it at a different time in my life too. Mm-hmm. So I think I don't know.
I know. It's really funny when you go back and you watch the movies or read the book as an adult and you're like, how is Hogwarts the safest place?
Yes.
On Earth. There's no way.
Don't get it, but here we are.
Yeah.
My highlight was tonight.
Oh, our 6-mile run that we did.
We went on
our
a
little
run
Valentine's
together.
run.
Yeah, we went on a run together, and I just really enjoyed it. Like we had a great conversation throughout. It was beautiful weather.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I don't know, it was just nice to be outside, and I don't know. It was
Going
just
for a run.
It was nice.
Yeah, we're both training for the Louisville marathon.
Yeah.
You're training for the marathon. I'm doing the half, but
Yeah.
got to get those runs in.
It's training season.
I'm glad we're doing it before summer. That's all I'm saying, because we're traveling a lot this summer.
Fair enough.
So,
today's episode.
Yeah.
Inspired by Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Places that have a piece of our hearts.
Aww.
Right? So this kind of came to me as, it's not necessarily like our favorite travel experiences or stuff like that. It's places that have a piece of our heart. We had an ornament on our Christmas tree growing up. It was a little trolley car, and it played Tony Bennett's "I Left My Heart in San Francisco." Do you know that song?
Yeah, I love Tony Bennett. Yeah. Okay.
So, and like over the years, unfortunately, obviously, like the battery goes, and like,
yeah.
I don't know if it's even replaceable, but I would always love, like when that ornament would go on the tree, I would always press it. And I would
That's
like,
really cute.
and like my parents would tell me about the song, and like I remember listening to the song. So that kind of also inspired this, right? So where have we left pieces of our hearts around the world in our travels? And the only rule for this was that it has to be for a reason that like other people could experience if they traveled there, right? So it can't necessarily be, well...
Oh, it can't be like sentimental?
No, I mean, no.
Because I was like, I did all of mine based on like, it was sentimental.
No.
Okay.
Let me rephrase. It can absolutely be sentimental because all of mine are sentimental.
Yeah.
Right? But it's not necessarily like, oh, I always loved this or I always loved visiting Milwaukee because my grandmother and my family is from Milwaukee and I always enjoy seeing them and blah blah blah. So like other people who don't have family in Milwaukee, like that's not going to necessarily mean as much to them, right?
Yeah.
So like that sort of sentimentality was not allowed. But if it's for like, oh, I like there was this like really fantastic experience and like I don't know, like the city spoke to me or what have you, that's fine and that's sentimental. But like yeah, you know what I'm saying. That was that was the delineation that we had talked about prior to recording.
And this is tough.
It is really tough because
you really struggled making this.
I did, especially because we only limited it to 5 places each.
Do you have any honorable mentions?
You know what? I'm not going to.
You're not going to? I almost threw.
Don't.
I can do it. I can do it.
Nope. Neither of us are going to have honorable mentions because this was really, really tough for me to make.
Man, I don't. This changes everything.
No, it doesn't. I have things scratched out because I was starting to well, actually, let me ask you, how did you approach this?
Some of them came to me right away.
Agreed.
Like it was like a happy place or a place that I remember very, very fondly together, or even by myself. And then some of them I kind of had to dig a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, what about you?
So I approached it initially. I was like, oh man, like this was a top experience for me. This was a top experience for me. This was a top experience for me. But then I kind of like thought about the situation.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was more the experience than it was some sort of like sentimental connection.
Like a yearning to go back to these places because you left a piece of your heart there.
Right.
Yes. So these are places, I mean, essentially, yeah, they're places we either keep going back to or want to go back to because we left a piece of our heart there.
Yes.
And we need to go back.
My guess is that we're going to have some overlap here.
Yes.
Okay. Why don't do you have any in North America?
No. Yes, I do.
How many?
Just one.
Okay. I have 2 in North America. One that I know you were not there for, and then one that I know you were there for. So let me go ahead and start with the one that was just me.
Okay.
And then I think we can probably talk about the other one together, but maybe not.
Okay.
So My first one is Denali National Park in Alaska. This was a place. I went there as a child on a family vacation, and it was part of a larger trip to Alaska. We had just done a cruise from Vancouver up to Alaska. We were doing a land portion, and we did a drive through Denali, and I remember just seeing all of the wildlife around. Like, I mean, we saw the thing that really stands out is a mother grizzly with her cubs. I've told you this. But then there's also just like the mountains and just the vast openness. And I remember not really being able to comprehend all of it because it was like nothing I had ever seen in my life. And I remember I wrote down, I was laying wide awake that night just thinking, because like as a kid, and
this kid falls asleep easily.
Right.
As soon as his head hits the pillow.
As a kid, you're like learning about the world, right? And I think I was in middle school at this time. Middle school, maybe early high school when we went there.
Now, is this the family vacation where you did like the pouty lips and you kissed the peace sign at the camera every 5 seconds?
It may have been.
Or was this the one where you were too
Hawaii.
cool?
That
may
was
have been
Hawaii.
Yeah.
This is when I was too cool.
Okay.
So I was in my teen years.
I love going back and watching your old family videos because you're so funny.
I was too cool for school. I was too cool for Denali until Denali like knocked me on my butt. And I knew at that point that wasn't going to be the only time I went there. Right? Like I could tell that even when we were like leaving, that there was just like I had experienced something there that I had never really experienced before. It was like something entirely different to me. And I've talked about this before on the podcast too, but it kind of opened up the door to travel for me. But
especially wildlife travel for you.
Yeah, that's
I feel
huge.
Like you're always obsessed with wanting to go somewhere remote to find animals.
Yes, and this is this is definitely the place that started that.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you had one in North America. Were both of us there?
Yes.
Is it Playa Nicuesa?
Yeah.
It is on my list
okay,
as well.
Okay.
So why don't you talk about why it meant so much to you?
It was such a unique experience. I mean, it's very remote. The only way to get there is to either drive all the way down somewhere and then take a shuttle that the resort has that brings you there, or you fly into
via boat. The shuttle is via boat.
Yeah, it's a boat shuttle. And then, or you fly to Puerto Jimenez, or there's like another smaller airport that you fly to, and then you still have to take a boat situation to get to Playa Nicuesa. So it's very, very remote. We did not have Wi-Fi other than at the main lodge itself. So our rooms, we didn't have it. We didn't have it at the beach. Like, it was nice to be sort of disconnected in that way. This is more of a modern one, not from like our childhood where we were disconnected from things, but we just really had a lot of time to spend together and enjoy the outside world. Like, we went for hikes. We were surrounded by dolphins one morning when we were cruising around the Golfo Dulce. Yeah, I mean, it was also neat to be at such a small resort and have like the beach to ourselves, and it was a beautiful part of the world, and like just I don't know, I loved waking up to the sounds of the forest because we were close to the Osa Peninsula area, and it was fantastic. The wildlife was fantastic. The views were just fantastic, and it was really great to be just sort of disconnected and so that we could connect together. Yeah, and it was such a relaxing, nice little pace getaway for us that I left a little piece of my heart there. I really enjoyed the lodge itself too. Just the open air cabin. You could keep it open all the time if you wanted to. We did close it at night, close the screens.
Coward.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, you're very immersed in nature there, and it was lovely. Yeah.
I included it on the list for a lot of similar reasons, but I'll mention two in particular. The first one was that it definitely allowed the trip to slow down a little bit, but we did not take that opportunity. We were almost like little kids in a candy store when we were there, and like we wanted to see everything and experience everything, and it was just
I signed Christopher up for a yoga class.
everything was new, everything was exciting. it was, but at the same time, it was also incredibly romantic.
Well, and I also thought we had a lot of downtime where we just relaxed or played games and stuff like that.
Yeah, but like there was always something to look at, something to do.
Yeah.
Which was really neat. The other reason I can tell that I left a piece of my heart at Playa Nicuesa is because I was in a very bad mood the day that we were leaving. Do you remember we got up to look at the sunrise?
Yes, you were so grumpy because I was like, oh, I want to get photos of the Golfo Dulce at sunrise. So I got us up super early because the sunrise was maybe at like 5:36 in the morning or something.
That's awfully specific.
Okay. So I got us up at like 4:30. The lights aren't really on, and I grabbed the camera and I'm like, oh, it'd be so romantic to watch the sunrise together. It'd be so nice. It's a beautiful morning. Like it was clear skies. And you got, I don't know where you went. You had to go back or something to get something. And the sunrise was lovely. And, but yeah, and then you finally came back as the sun started rising and the birds started flying. We saw the macaws going and the howler monkeys going and all that stuff. And it ended up being a beautiful sunrise. And after you, came back, you were very you're very happy you did get up for the sunrise, I guess.
I can always tell that I loved a place a lot when I am in a bad mood when I'm leaving.
Oh, is that why you were in a bad mood? I thought it was because I woke you up early.
No.
And you were like, no.
I'll mention this again with some other places, but I can always tell that when I am in a bad mood when I'm leaving, it's because I don't want to leave, right? And I don't care
what's... And so he gets emo Chris photos.
I don't care what's coming next. I don't care if what's coming next is the reason that I wanted to go somewhere. If I'm really, really loving a place, I will be in a bad mood when I leave. That's just the territory.
Wonderful. Lucky me.
All right. Anything else to say about Playa Nicuesa?
I don't know. I thought it was magical having the beach to ourselves a lot of time. Remember when we were frolicking in the beach and we looked like idiots? And was it Joe? Was one of the guides there, and he just watched us looking like idiots. And there was another group of environmental people that were studying something there that had their drone flying, and here we are skipping around playing in the waves like idiots. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the footage they probably got of us just running around the beach. But very special moments there.
Agreed.
It was great.
Anything in South America for you?
I don't
either.
That was tough because the Amazon was almost on there for me.
It was almost on there for me as well, but
yeah,
it's not. Anything in Europe from you?
Yes, 2 places.
2 places in Europe. Okay. Do you want me to start with my first place in Europe?
One of them is not with you.
Okay. This one is not with you either.
Okay.
This is a small cave off the coast of the United Kingdom, where I took a boat to the middle of the cave and put a piece of my heart in a golden locket.
Oh, okay. You put a Horcrux. Do you know how Horcruxes are made, Christopher?
I was thinking because like you said, I'm reading Harry Potter, and I was like, where did I leave a piece of my heart? And I was like, this is like a Horcrux, except I haven't killed anyone.
Yeah, that's good to know.
I have one place in Europe, but why don't you go ahead and start?
So mine is, I'm going to say the Alps part of France. Christopher's going to make fun of me because he's always like, oh, you learned to ski in the Alps. That's not the only reason why I have a piece of my heart there. But I studied abroad there for 6 months or so and when I was, in school. And I don't know, it was kind of my first time really being truly sort of independent in a way because, before that I lived in the dorms and in the sorority house. And then I moved to this apartment where I was paying the bills and all that stuff. But it was also navigating the language, and I was just learning a lot, and I grew a lot during that time. But yeah, I just feel like that was such a huge life altering experience. And I feel like it gave me that hunger to travel from that. I did learn to ski there. I learned a lot. I also really love Annecy. I lived in Grenoble. Lovely place. I've always wanted to take you to I'd like to show you Grenoble and Annecy and all the places that I really loved. And it's why Annecy is still one of my favorite places in France. But yeah, I've left a bit of my heart sort of in the Alps there. It's a special place. It's a beautiful part of the country. But yeah, I think that huge experience of traveling abroad there and like living there for a little bit, it's hard not to, where I got my first real independence. I was 21 years old, I'm halfway across the world from everybody I know. So you're kind of, I don't know, it is sort of that life-changing experience. And we got to travel a lot on breaks and weekends and stuff. So it was sort of a huge cultural immersion as well as life learning experience. So I think that's why the Alps, the Rhone Alps part of France and the Savoie area, so Grenoble, Annecy, that sort of area, was a huge life-changing part for me. And it sparked my love of traveling and my love of France. So yeah, I think that's got a little piece of my heart there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going one day.
Yeah.
Alone.
Are you kidding me?
Well, it meant so much to you when you were alone.
We've talked about the people that I studied abroad with doing like a reunion at one point. And I think that would be a lot of fun.
Well, so I did not study, so I will not be reuniting.
Yeah, well, like spouses and children and stuff would be welcome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, I appreciate the
invite. Much
invite.
like a high school or college or something like that reunion.
You said that you had 2 places in Europe, right?
Yes. The other one is with you.
Okay. What is the other one, out of curiosity? Because I have one, and it is with you.
Paris.
Paris did not make my list.
What?
Yeah, and I was shocked about that because to me, Paris is the best city in the world. It is the most romantic city in the world. Mm-hmm. It did not make my list. It didn't. End of story.
Moving on. No, Paris makes my list. Well, I've been a lot. And I enjoy it. There's so much there.
I mean, with that logic, the grocery store could make your list. I've been a lot.
Honestly,
I enjoy it.
One of my favorite things to do when I was studying abroad was to go to the grocery store. Like, I love going grocery shopping and like looking at the different foods. I mean, seeing the frozen food aisle that had things like escargot ready to go that you could like just put in a pan and melt. Bacon bread, like bread with little pieces of lardon and cheese and stuff in it. So good. Anyway, but Paris. I mean, it's a lovely city. It was not love at first sight. The first time I ever went was a cold, rainy, dreary weekend in January. And all I did was go to museum after museum. I did all the big touristy things and really didn't, ate at touristy restaurants. And I was just like, I don't get it. I don't get what the hype is. And then I went back in May, like closer to the end of my study abroad, and I fell in love with it. I mean, the city sings in the spring. It is a beautiful place to be in the spring with the flowers everywhere and all the gardens are blooming and people are picnicking in the park. It's just a gorgeous time to be in the city and everyone's all happy and out and about because the weather's warmer, the sun's coming out, the flowers are everywhere. It's a great city for just like cafes. And again, it's got art, it's got culture, it's got music. Yeah, it's a great city for people watching. But I don't know. It's also a moment of like, I kind of came that full circle moment with France where I sort of like started my study abroad sort of with Paris visiting and then also ending it with Paris visiting. So it was sort of my full circle moment there. But also, it really came to life for me when we went together even more.
I love Paris. Because
we did a lot of like lesser popular touristy things. And we just kind of wandered and enjoyed and I don't know. Paris is a beautiful city and it was really sweet to get to show you a place that had my heart already that I got to like share that with you. And now it's not even on your list. Just kidding.
No, I mean, it was really tough for me.
No, Christopher, I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, I know. I also was not thinking though of like entire cities or states. I was trying to be more specific.
Whoops.
Some of us took the spirit of the episode to heart.
Well, you don't tell me the rules because you want us to surprise each other, and then it's like
no. You were spot on.
Okay, this is my interpretation of the episode.
Yes, you were spot on. But for whatever reason, like I was like thinking about Paris as a whole, but I was also thinking about like different places. So, my place in Europe was Old Town Square in Prague.
That's a big one.
we went to Old Town Square a few different times. One was just the two of us in the morning, when we went there for the Christmas markets. And it was nearly empty.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool. But the time that I'm thinking of, it was our very last night on the trip. And again, I can tell that I'm getting a little cranky because I don't want to leave. And that's after a while, that is how I started thinking about this episode. Like, when was I in a bad mood? And I was like, aha, it's because a part of my heart has been ripped out. And that's how I approached it. But the last night on that trip, we were in Old Town Square, and it was snowing. There was the music, there was the Christmas market, and it was just perfect. It really, really was. Like, it is I can picture it like it was yesterday. And I remember kind of taking a mental picture of it. Like, I remember looking at it and saying, okay, I'm going to turn around. We're going to walk back. And we were with my parents. And I said, I'm not going to look back, because I want that to be the last thing that I remember. I
kept looking back.
And it's
I was like, oh, it's so pretty.
It was. And it was tough. It wasn't like anything like particularly eventful happened there. I mean, we hung out at that Christmas market a lot because it was a bigger Christmas market. But I think it was just kind of like it was almost a symbolic culmination of the entire trip. But that was my favorite Christmas market the entire trip too.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah. So yeah, that is what made my list from Europe. Do you have anything in Africa?
I will say that Prague is sort of one of my honorable mentions because of that whole moment, which was lovely.
Okay.
But it's actually the first place I started backpacking in Europe by myself.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was the first place I went to by myself. Because originally I started in Milan, met up with a couple of my friends from Kentucky that like had lived there and stuff, or they were living in Milan at the time for grad school. And then we went to Budapest together. Then they ended up leaving. And then that was when I started my portion of the solo trip where I went to Prague by myself. And I was really nervous and I was really scared about it. And it was great.
I'm surprised that Budapest is not on your list, because Budapest for a long time.
That one was going to be, that's an honorable mention as well.
A long time you were like, hey, like, we're living in Budapest. And I was like, oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I really enjoyed it in my early 20s and I still love it. I still have a very fond memory of, I've been to Budapest again several times. I love that city. I love the culture. I love the edginess. I like the architecture and the art and the museums and the bathhouses. And then I also really enjoyed getting to go with you and your family. And I still love that photo of your dad having a chimney cake for the first time, the pure joy in his face. So definitely an honorable mention for me.
We have slid into honorable mention territory.
Sorry.
We need to right this ship.
Okay.
Do you have anything from Africa?
Yes.
What country?
South Africa.
Simbavati River Lodge?
I just put South Africa as a whole.
Unbelievable. Okay. I will say Simbavati River Lodge in the Timbavati Game Reserve made the list for me because I have in all caps such a bad mood when we left.
Yeah, we were at dinner the night we got into Cape Town because we flew from there to Cape Town.
I was so upset.
No, we both were like about to cry. That's how sad we were leaving.
And I can tell because we were taking pictures that evening. Like we took pictures of the place that we stayed at in Cape Town. I put zero effort into these pictures. The lights were off. It was barely light. Like they're the live photos and you can tell that I just like pop my camera in a room, take a picture, and then I'm out and like it's like all blurry if you play the live photo.
Hence why we don't use it.
Right. But Simbavati was very similar to Denali for me. Mm-hmm. It was something that I had only ever seen in books. It was my first real experience of like the remote wildlife travel.
Yeah. Because we even had spotty Wi-Fi at times, and we were
did.
just like, great, that's awesome. We don't have Wi-Fi, and we don't need it, you know?
Yes. So it was incredible. Just the humility that I walked away from as well.
And I mean, that's the brightest I've ever seen the stars. That's the first time I've ever really seen the Milky Way. Like where you actually are like, oh, I get why it's called the Milky Way.
Yeah. And I remember flying to Cape Town. I remember legitimately having tears in my eyes because I just did not want, I was like, I don't care what is in Cape Town. It cannot be better than this. It just can't be.
And I will say, I remember at dinner, we were both kind of like sad. We were at some like Italian restaurant close to where we were staying because we just got in at night and we were like, whatever. And I was like, look, we can be sad tonight. All right. We can be sad at this dinner and grumpy, but tomorrow we're going to wake up and we're going to give Cape Town a chance and the rest of our trip a chance because we have quite a bit of time left.
Yes.
And we're going to make this fun.
We said that
then we woke up the next morning and did the shark cage dive and everything was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think that was important. Like, look, we can throw ourselves a pity party right now, but buck up, Buttercup.
Yeah. Which I know it sounds stupid. We're throwing that, but we were just sad to leave. We missed it. It was great.
South Africa is a whole for you though.
Yeah. I think it's for sentimental reasons. It was our first big trip that we ever took together.
Yes.
I had just started Worldwide Honeymoon.
Yes.
We had just gotten engaged, like not that long before we went. And I think it really sparked an interest of a love of traveling together. And I don't know, that's why I love South Africa as a whole, because I have a lot of sentimental reasons for that. But again, I really enjoyed Simbavati for the remoteness and the beauty of it. I enjoyed being in Cape Town together and hiking Table Mountain. The disaster that turned out to be, but a lot of fun looking back on it. Going to the winelands, buying 6 bottles of wine from a winery that were like, hey, when we run out, we have to go back. And we're about to drink our last bottle here soon.
Yeah.
And we need to go back.
I'm really looking forward to returning.
Yeah. I mean, it's a place where, we're already planning to return again.
Yeah.
So definitely a little piece of our hearts there. We loved it. I loved Cape Town.
Yeah.
I love the energy of it. I love safari. And it was just a special place to travel to with you.
All right. That leaves Asia.
Okay.
You have one place from Asia, I'm guessing.
Yes.
I am fairly confident that we don't have the same place.
Okay.
Actually, very confident.
Okay.
Do you want to go first? And I'll end it.
Sure. My first one is pretty much whatever I picture.
Hold on. First one?
Or sorry, my only one.
Okay.
Is pretty much what I picture anytime someone says to go to your happy place, whether it is like meditating or I'm getting my, like a dentist, like a cavity filled, or like anything where the doctor's like, go to your happy place while this is happening. It's Colipe. It's staying at 10 Moons Resort in Colipe. We stayed at this beautiful little cabin that we could literally run from our cabin into the sea, with the clearest, beautiful water. The dogs Happy and Smiley and Tony, and us just frolicking in the beach together, going snorkeling together, and just being in Colipe together. I just picture that a lot when it's my happy place. It's so peaceful. Where we stayed was very peaceful and calm and quiet. Beautiful sandy beach, clear water. We just had a lot of fun there in our honeymoon. It was a really fun, romantic, relaxing place.
It was.
Yeah.
I had actually thought about putting what was it? Oh my gosh. The gentleman's name was Noor. What was the bar?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember. Well, go back to our episode about Colipe. And
Home bar.
Home bar, yes. Wonderful.
Yes.
Love talking to Noor.
It was, well, like I was thinking about putting that specifically, but it actually got edged out by something else during our honeymoon.
There was also a lot of good food there, and it was the best snorkeling I'd ever done.
Yeah.
Like the best coral reefs, the best wildlife in the snorkel. It was just beautiful. Yeah.
Agreed. My place in Asia it's actually a restaurant.
Is it Khao Soi Cat Gorm?
No, it's Little Chroma in
Aw.
Siem Reap in Cambodia.
Is that the one where there was a cat climbing on the roof area?
No, that was Haven.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Little Chroma was, again, our last night. we had
Grumpy Chris.
Yes. Yeah. It was a time where I really felt as though, okay, I am seamlessly integrated into this now. Like,
into travel.
No.
Cambodia.
Into
Siem Reap. What?
Yeah, that's a good. Okay, yeah. Allow me to specify.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Like we had seen a lot of the temples, so I'm already in this like state of awe. Then we had gone out to Pub Street, and you and I had a great time, just like bouncing around and hanging out. Just the two of us.
Go there late afternoon, not at night, and it's so much more peaceful and lovely. And we just sat and had like a cocktail or two, and then went to dinner before like all the partiers came out.
Yeah, and then like I remember, I was waiting for you at one point, and I really hit it off with this tuk-tuk driver, and we were chatting, and then we ended up actually hiring him to drive us to Little Chroma in the tuk-tuk. So when I say that I just felt like seamlessly integrated, I felt like one of the, I don't know, like I felt like one of the locals. Okay. I did. Like I felt as though
But did you maybe like you feel like a traveler? You know, you feel like you can kind of blend in wherever, or you're adaptable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I just felt
or
like,
you could make your way wherever. Yeah.
Yes.
I know that feeling. That's kind of what Prague and Budapest sort of were for me, is where I started to feel like, oh, okay, like I get it. Like I can do this.
Yeah. And like it was just it really hit me at dinner, because I mean, I knew what I was looking for. I knew what I wanted. I was just like, this is it, right? Like this is the end to our final day here. I remember actually thinking like I could have used one more day here. And whenever I have that feeling,
I wish we had another day in Siem Reap. We did not have a lot of time, but it was lovely.
Yeah. And I just remember that dinner though, because we had a wonderful chat with our waitress. You and I had a great time over dinner. It was just like it was like a nice little bow.
Yeah.
On that portion of the honeymoon. And like I said, I felt like I could do anything. So it was pretty neat, and that was why it was the final entry on my list.
Nice. Yeah, do you have any honorable mentions or anything you'd like to add?
Nope,
you're done. All right. Yeah, I think I pretty much mentioned mine earlier, but those are some places that have stolen our hearts over the years as we've traveled, places we long to go back to or experience with each other. Yeah, but let us know what you guys places that you've been to that have stolen your hearts. You can always reach us on Twitter at WWHoneymoon, Instagram at Worldwide Honeymoon, or email kat@worldwidehoneymoon.com. But thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to rate and review our podcast. It takes less than a few minutes and really helps other people find us. Also, if you're enjoying this awesome free information on both the blog and podcast, when you're booking your next trip, head over to worldwidehoneymoon.com/resources and use the links provided. We earn a small commission at no cost to you when you book through these links, and these are all brands and companies we know, love, and use, like Skyscanner for finding the best flight prices, World Nomads for the best travel insurance, TripAdvisor for hotel bookings and reviews, and even Amazon for all of your travel purchases.
Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Wherever you are, wherever you go, remember to make every day a worldwide honeymoon.